Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Carsten, for this introduction. I will start by saying that I am really humbled by the level of, intensity, intellectual intensity that I feel in this room. And I feel very proud that we have been tasked by the consortium of Engage to represent the project in this meeting. Everbridge is a private company, so we are collaborating with the consortium with a practical approach of how our existing technologies are deployed and how research can integrate and expand their action and their impact and their activities. So in this role, I am here to present technology solutions and how Engage is using those to try to, with a mission-driven approach, to try to see how we can expand their functionalities or improve their functionalities and how we can innovate on the basis of the existing. We are a consortium of, we have a consortium of soon 16 partners with representing 8 countries, including Israel. So the consortium is really quite international. And like many of the projects present here, the goal of Engage is to amplify society's inherent resilience by better involving citizens in disaster management. 1 year on into the project, we look at the technology solution. I will not be able to cover the whole project, so allow me just to focus on the aspects that I know a bit better. Two technology solutions I will present to you today in the context of the project. One is the public warning solution that allows to alert 99% of the population in seconds, according to the European Directive 2018-1972, which imposes every country to have a public alerting system in case of emergencies. And I will show you how it is currently used in the EU. And then within the project, we have been analyzing, actually TAO has been analyzing 45 chatbot types that are using artificial intelligence or machine learning to try to respond or to organize the responses to an emergency upsurge of call. And derive consideration of what to consider when planning one. Finally, I will show briefly how Engage is trying to develop a prototype of a chatbot, a real physical prototype that can be interfaced with existing solutions. So the objective and activities of Engage are the 4 that you can see, and the ones on which the technologies that I will describe concentrate today are really practices, methods, and tools, as well as ways to study the validation of the solutions. So, indeed, Engage covers the full range of disaster risk reduction and engages the whole society. We don't distinguish by groups, we don't distinguish by situations. We are looking at disaster as a whole. And public warning is what happens in an initial stage of an emergency disaster when citizens need to be warned and informed. Currently, there are 2 mobile technologies implemented in Europe that are compliant with the directive. These are, and that cover 99% of the population. These are cell broadcast and location-based SMS. And within Engage, we will have 3 drills, an exercise in Norway specifically that will in real life simulate a landslide and how this landslide will affect critical infrastructure and how a public alerting system can help to coordinate responders' forces and to mobilize to safety population and to measure through the chatbot how machine learning can streamline and simplify such emergency and critical event. So this is one of the three. There are two others, but in the current scope of the project, there is no way to expand the real life situation for the time being. So we will focus on Norway. What we aim to simulate is to send one or more public warning test messages to all potentially affected citizens and residents. Residents mean tourists visiting the country and being temporarily on the spot, by SMS, reaching 10 to 500 recipients, by SMS, phone, or email, reaching 5,000 to 10,000 recipients, and by SMS to all mobile phones in the area based on the information driven from mobile operators. This is all completely privacy compliant. There is no personal data collected. The data remains at the level of the operator. The only thing that is retrieved is the mobile number or a part of the mobile number. And then this simulation will include a link in the message to a landing page where we will provide more information in such a way as to reduce the flow of emergency calls that are clogging 112 numbers or first responders emergency centers in the immediate aftermath of a critical event. As a technology, public warning is a special category of tool. It is on a spectrum between level of urgency and percentage of the population covered. You can see that it positions itself on the top right end or upper right end of the quadrant, meaning it is the type of population that has the benefit of acting in the fastest way in case of urgency and simultaneously reaching a maximum amount of population. So other features of this technology applied to improving societal resilience and alerting the population as a whole is that this technology is currently the standard for systems having the only unified all-channel intelligent critical communication platform to help public authorities protect people when it matters. I will not go into the specific details. You can have the presentation and go in depth. I think what is most interesting from our perspective, being all projects that are developed through the Horizon 2020 program and thus have a global focus, but an origin from Europe, we can see that this type of technology is currently used quite widely in Europe in terms of both public warning and a slightly different strand of this Everbridge technology is helping nationwide emergency and crisis management presence of a different nature. But just in terms of public warning, this is the capacity that Europe is currently implementing. And apologies. In terms of aspects that influence vulnerability aspects, as the University of Tartu mentioned before, and the first project also was covering, we can see that different technologies have different capabilities and different functionalities. Now I would like to give from the public alerting technology, we are shifting into the chatbot prototypization and blueprint. I would like our colleague Nathan Stolero from Tel Aviv University to give us an overview. It's just 1.5 minutes. Do I just click? Do I just click?
Yes, is he?
No, the link.
Oh yes, yes,
We don't know. Anybody knows?
Sure. How do we click on the link?
Control click. Where's control? You cannot click now?
You need to tell that in advance. We can do a remote transition.
Okay.
So for the online audience, we are unable to show the video now, and I would like to ask you to improvise.
Well, wonderful. Karsten, the presentation will be anyway shared with everyone. So please, just for honesty towards, a scientist who has been analyzing and reviewing scientifically 45 artificial intelligence solutions, take a look at the video in which he describes, how the methodology has been set up and why. Yes, this research reviewed this AI solution, carried out an expert consultation with responders and authorities, and produced a depiction of the different processes that most of chatbot solutions are currently using. Now, as you know, in scientific research, you can either choose a horizontal approach or a vertical approach. So Tao has chosen the horizontal approach, analyzing and comparing 45 solutions of different chatbots, all in the safety field, but very different sector segments and so on. From this blueprint, the type of prototype that we are designing is instead of a vertical nature and specific to the interaction with public warning, because we feel that on the basis of the data that is available and that we can access, it is probably more effective to narrow down the scope and to instead deepen the functionalities. So the full execution of the blueprint will take care of 5 different aspects, as the blueprint has identified: the technological capability, the trust, which is a very important element in the uptake of chatbot solutions by citizens, the user perspectives, the information management, and the budget and funds. What did the blueprint study unveil? That chatbots are currently not yet used extensively to support societal resilience. And this is exactly because there are issues of trust. But issues of trust, since the vast majority provides content on a closed domain, can also be addressed from a technological point of view. The chatbot can alleviate and can have really a useful function in alleviating the potential overload of call centers who have, peak response demand in the moment in which, a rapidity and effectiveness of response is the highest. And chatbots can filter and provide the community useful service, tailored and contextual information that will dramatically reduce the pressure on the calls and on the operators. Plus, they can minimize the abuse upon responders that sometimes under emergency situation, we observe situation of harassment. How to reach the people with the prototype? We are building a prototype. We are testing on a sample use case based on police call responses, how, the blueprint is applying. And we want to work with the blueprint on a wide range of devices with a trusted domain, so addressing the issue of trust, including information of the active crisis to assess the resilience. And the alert would be sent as a common alerting protocol message, so a standardized message that can be recognized, and the responses received in the exercise would be then analyzed more in depth with the blueprint criteria that have been identified prior. What are the specifications of this prototype? The responses are predefined by us, and they are not generated by artificial intelligence. So there is a human and an agent-based conversation. It will allow both closed and open-ended questions. It will reach as many people as possible through translation and narration, and it will be privacy conscious by keeping the data on the device. The only trusted sources will be used for the information. I will not go into the specificities of the design of the prototype, but you can have, for the information technology and engineers present in the audience, some fun to depict, the different processes and itineraries. This is just what the message will look and how the prototype of the chatbot will be accessible. On the first screen, you see a standard emergency alert along the protocol of EU alert. In this case, it's NL alert. Then the specification of where the emergency is happening with a fire at the Bergpoortstraat. And then on the clicking on this second screen, we will have the citizen will have the possibility of asking a question and be directed to the chatbot prototype.